Today's topic is critical incidents and their impacts on police officers. I'm Steve Serbalik, and I'm an attorney with ASCOPS in Arizona. If you're involved in a critical incident, and by this term I'm referring to an officer-involved shooting or an in-custody death, it will no doubt be a defining moment in your career. Our goal today is to provide some background on what to expect and things to consider if you are involved in one of these significant incidents. This video is part of the Law Enforcement Lessons series. Today, I'll cover what constitutes a critical incident in policing, what to expect if you're involved in a critical incident, and your rights and responsibilities as an involved officer. Please note that this is a general summary and not legal advice, so please consult with your lawyer and your union representation to talk about your specific circumstances. Our goal for this video is to provide you with some basic information about critical incidents and what you might expect if you're involved in one. But as always, the most important thing for you to know is if you find yourself in trouble at work or worried about critical incidents, please contact representation as soon as possible. Experienced representation can provide direction and counsel, but only if you ask for help. There are some functions of policing that are considered routine: traffic stops, investigations, arrests, and bookings, to name a few. Critical incidents are different in that they involve significant force or the death or significant injury to an officer or member of the public. Because they're out of the ordinary, they involve a higher level of scrutiny. Here in Arizona, critical incidents are investigated by experts, experienced homicide units that will process the scene and conduct the most important interviews. Additionally, because of the nature of these incidents, they involve personnel from outside of your agency. For most of the state, the results of the investigation are forwarded on to the county attorney for review. And for Indian reservations, investigations are conducted by the FBI and reviewed by the U.S. Attorney's Office. Because these investigations are conducted by criminal investigators, it's important to remember that you, the involved officer, have constitutional rights. You have the choice as to whether you will give a statement to criminal investigators. I'll come back to your rights and responsibilities in a minute, but first, I want to let you know what to expect if you personally are involved in an officer-involved shooting. The first thing is everyone's different. Not everyone will experience the same things, but some physiological stress responses are auditory exclusion, tunnel vision, a metallic taste in your mouth, and shaking. Know that these are normal and they will pass. Next, you can expect lots of questions. I'll cover some specifics later, but know that everyone, from coworkers to family to even strangers, will ask you questions. Generally speaking, after giving safety information to your coworkers, it's best to say as little as possible until after you've had time to speak with a lawyer. You'll also face some big decisions. The most important is who, if anyone, you call for help. Even if you believe this situation is clear-cut and justified, it's still best to talk with an expert to make sure your articulation is as good as possible. Remember, no matter who you are, you're experiencing stress reactions, so get backup to help you gather your thoughts and be as clear as possible. That big decision is important because you will ultimately have an opportunity to talk with the investigators. Your actions will be judged, in part, based upon your articulation. Employment, civil, and criminal liability decisions are made with your mindset considered as an important part of the equation. I'll say more about this later, but the point to remember is, don't go at it alone. So that brings us to your rights and responsibilities as an involved officer. First and foremost, if you are involved in a critical incident, do your job. Get yourself and your fellow officers to safety. Finish addressing threats and secure the scene. Next is the public safety statement. Once the scene is secured and the cavalry's coming, your job is not quite done. You need to provide basic information as to what happened, addressing whether there are any outstanding suspects, the direction of fire if guns were involved, and potential witnesses. But beyond this basic public safety information, stop talking. Anything you say can be used against you. That said, you do not need to make any other decisions alone. As an involved officer, you have the constitutional right to an attorney. Take it. When I come to scenes, I talk with the involved officer or officers. I hear their side of the story. I explain the process, and then I help with the articulation as to what occurred. By the time I get there, I explain that your job as the officer is done. You addressed the threat. I don't do what you do. Now it's time for my job to provide the best possible advice as to the articulation and to help protect your future. So here's the recap. We covered what critical incidents are and how they're different than a typical police response, how they're subject to higher scrutiny, and how they involve outside agencies and reviewers. We also covered what you can expect personally if you're involved. You can expect stress responses, lots of questions, big decisions, and an opportunity to tell your side of the story. Next, we discussed your rights and responsibilities. We talked about the importance of finishing your job, making public safety statements, and then the importance of exercising your constitutional right to counsel, even if you think the incident's clear-cut. Finally, once again, the most important takeaway is this: ask for help. Lawyers like me and organizations like ASCOPS are here to help you navigate through critical incidents, as well as any other significant issues that you might face as a police officer. Don't go at it alone. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit the button below to subscribe for more law enforcement lessons. I'm Steve Cerbalic. Stay safe out there.